Hello everyone, welcome to Astro Live on Instagram. I'm your host Rod. Once a week I invite an astrologer to talk about weekly transit and discuss about the recent event. And today it's my honor to invite Lianne, and we're going to talk about the recent event about the FIFA. So we're going to check about the FIFA's astrological chart and maybe give some tip about this week's astrology advice. Okay, let me invite Liam first.
So that you can see at this moment I'm not at home and I'm traveling, so I'm not sure about the internet. I hope it go well. Last time I ran a very quick podcast, so it seems okay. So we will see. Let me double check if Lian can see me. Yes. Weird. I said twice. Hello, Grace. Okay. Let me see if I can find Lian. Okay. I still couldn't invite Lian to join me. That's pretty weird.
Hi,
Oh,
Rod.
hey! Oh, okay, you are in different way. Okay, let me try.
Always.
I'm sorry. You know,
Okay.
yeah. No, no, no. It was me. It was me. We start with this, but recently,
It's fine.
I think there's one time Alejo complained, so I said, okay, let's switch in this way. I have no problem with it. So, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's strange being back here in the UK. It's very cold, very cold. And
Okay.
yeah, last week just seems like a dream.
Okay, for you, probably don't know, Leah was on holiday in Tenerife, and then I joined her in same island, and we catch up, have a nice meal together, and we talk about a lot of interesting thingy, especially that's why I make that video about me and my coffee machine. If you see it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, when astrologer met each other, we always have some crazy idea about the chart.
Absolutely. And we have to have fun with it, don't we?
Oh,
We do need some
definitely.
fun.
Yeah, I think astrology is really we can go with entertainment, like
Mhm.
talking about the gossip. We can talk about maybe the singer or their creativity or their production. We can talk about ourselves in the daily life. What happened in your life and what bother you? Let's try to give some advice or help yourself to see through what exactly you were thinking. And sometimes it's just like a funny tiny things like me and my coffee machine, why I'm obsessed with coffee machine. And then we find out that Venus with Ceres are conjunct my ascendant. I say,
Yeah,
you know what? Astrology is
yeah,
amazing. So today
yeah.
we are going to talk about the recent event FIFA. We'll talk about that. And to be honest, it's very interesting. When I talk about that, people will ask me, are you a football fan? So I'm
No,
asking the same question. You are not.
no, I'm not, but I love sport. So
Oh
I
yes.
do follow it. And
Mm-hmm.
the big events, I'll follow the big football events, but I'm
Mm.
not a football fan. But this World Cup isn't about just football. It's a much bigger, much bigger
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, talk about it. I know I'm a little bit like you. I'm not a regular football fan, but I like this kind of a big event like FIFA is like a super huge and all the country participate usually will draw people's attention. And I mean, some astrologer even try to forecast what country win. I did it for a couple of years, but it's funny. But I'm not 100% sure we can do that. But you know, it's kind of practice or learning. But why? Tell us why you think this FIFA in 2022 in Qatar is a important.
So obviously, football is such a huge sport around the world. It brings everyone together. It's a collectively popular sport. It's massive. Entertainment value, financial value. I mean, the financial revenue from football is huge. And you know, the whole world is involved in this world sport. We have teams from all over the world. But what's happened is the venue, which is Qatar, which isn't renowned for its human rights protocol, this has become highlighted. And this has been used as a stage for people to highlight all of the issues with human rights around the world. So, for example, the way Qatar, with its rights for gay people, the LGBTQ community, and the way it treats migrant workers. But also we have a football team from Iran. And as we know, Iran has... there's a lot of uprising there about, you know, human rights, the Sharia law, the wearing of the veil, the face covering. So the Iran team refused to, you know, join in the national anthem, which was a massive statement. This huge statement about human rights at this world. This World Cup, and it's taking over the sport, or perhaps the sport is being used as a platform to highlight all of these human rights, which is, it's wonderful. And it but there's a lot of unrest, there's a lot of you know, politics going on within FIFA, and even when Qatar won the bid to hold this World Cup, there was a lot of controversy. That was back in 2010 when it was awarded the bid, and there was talk about financial corruption, etc., etc. So it's a controversial World Cup, even without the football.
To be honest, yes, it is. I asked one of my best friend asked me, say, "Oh, you don't follow football. Why you care about the FIFA and this one?" I say, "Well, usually the big World Cup is an interesting, like a big festival. Most people, even they don't watch the football every day, but this kind of things, they will really become a FIFA fan or something. Join them once every 4 years, something like an Olympics. That is like a big festival. But another thing, to be honest, this one." Like you, I'm more care about the first from the beginning is about how they treat the migrant work, and then they try to evacuate them to somewhere else, and also the about the LGBT thingy, the umbrella, right? The some European countries,
the rainbow, wearing of the
rainbow, and they being asked you should not, and then even our foreign minister would say, "Well, okay, you should respect them." I said, "Fine, but if next time another country have torturing someone else for other reason, are we going to say, fine, you should respect them?" This is pretty interesting. Like, for example, the female situation. Are our foreign minister going to say, fine, you should respect that this is how they treat a woman?
Yeah. And what we're seeing is huge cultural conflict.
It is, yes.
It's a huge cultural conflict between the values of Qatar and, you know, the Sharia laws and values, the culture of all the teams that are taking part, and then FIFA, who are trying not to upset the host nation, and then they've announced today that the footballers you'll be allowed to wear the rainbows in the stadiums now. So they've actually backed down on that. It's cultural conflict, simple as that. It's not about football. It's about culture and human rights.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to exam. I think you show me the chart of FIFA from data from Astro.com. Look pretty interesting, right?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay, let me read the information because unfortunately today I couldn't show you the chart. I don't have the higher table to show the chart, so I will read the chart. Okay, Lianne showed me the chart from the Astro.com. The FIFA Foundation was founded in 21st of May 1904 for 2:30 p.m. from Paris. And this chart, we have the Libra rising, and the Sun in Gemini, 0 degree Gemini. Sun just moving into Gemini. Sun conjunct Mars, Mars in 2 degree Gemini. Interesting. And Neptune is a 4 degree Cancer, conjunct the midheaven 5 degree Cancer. And has Uranus 29 degree Sagittarius, Saturn in 20 degree Aquarius. That is pretty interesting, isn't it? Oh no, Jupiter, I should not ignore. Jupiter, 19 degree Aries and in 7th house. So it is a pretty interesting chart.
It's a perfect chart for a football organization. So
tell us more.
We've got that Sun-Mars conjunction in the early degrees of Gemini, which is like perfect for sport, for running and kicking a ball. And Gemini it's about the duality of having 2 teams as well. So it's perfect for football where you have 2 teams. And football is a very mercurial sport, isn't it? All these people running around, kicking the ball. And of course, Sun Mars together. I mean, that Mars is combust, but it's very much about getting what they want. It's about leadership. It's about fighting and about being competitive. Football is incredibly competitive, isn't it?
It is.
And of course, that Sun Mars picked up that new moon on the 23rd of November, which was opposite at 01 of Sagittarius. So no wonder it's in the headlines, all right? It's all over the headlines, what's going on. But if we look at the ruler of that Sun Mars, which is Mercury, that sits in Taurus retrograde, and it's sat right next to Venus, its dispositor. And it forms the apex to a fixed T-square with Moon in Leo. Moon in Leo, perfect for entertainment, fun, showcasing a sport. It's where everyone goes to enjoy themselves to watch football. And then it's square that 20 degree Saturn in Aquarius, which of course is picking up a lot of transits. But that Mercury in Taurus next to Venus, there's a lot of financial thought there, isn't there? And FIFA is a non-profit organization.
Really?
It's a non-profit organization. Venus and Mercury in Taurus, but it's non-profit, right? But it has huge earning potential. From organising and marketing all the major international football competitions, and the World Cup is one of the major sources of its revenue. It sells TV rights, it sells marketing rights, it sells the licensing rights, and it gets the revenue from all the ticket sales. So there's a lot of tourists, there's a lot of thought around money, and obviously that. If you think back to 2010, there was a lot of talk about financial corruption. So there's money involved, even though it's a non-profit organization. But what I find fascinating is Saturn is in Aquarius, and this is the governing body for lots of different football organizations, but its organization structure itself, FIFA, it's made up of lots of councils and committees. you know, that there's a council which makes the major decisions. Then it has a Congress, which is the supreme legislative body. It's very Aquarius in itself. But the fact that Saturn in Aquarius squares that Mercury in Taurus, there's almost a fear of, it's very fixed. So, you know, there's a fear of progression, perhaps a fear of upsetting the financial situation.
Yes.
You know, and all the earnings are meant to be ploughed back into developing football, so that they go into training and, you know, developing football itself. But I think there's definitely a fear there about impacting their financial position, without a doubt. But what I love here as well, we've got Saturn in Aquarius, and FIFA has Pluto in Gemini. Again, that football, and FIFA is responsible for the evolution of football. You know, so we've got Pluto there.
The rule. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's in a very tight trine, and it's air, and it's very much about media and TV, and football takes over the airwaves. It takes over the newspapers, the TV. Everyone talks about football, so it's very air. It's very about media, and that, you know, control and earning power from the media, very much so. So should we talk about the transits?
Yes, because this is the gold. Please start it.
Yeah, so it's really quite incredible. So I was saying that new moon that we had at 1 degree of Sagittarius on the 23rd of November, that opposed the Sun Mars of FIFA, and we know that that organisation were getting a lot of media coverage. Their PR wasn't very good. They didn't come across very well in their PR, and very controlling about the players, what the players could do on the pitch. They got a yellow card if they wore rainbow colours, or that sort of thing. So very, very controlling. And then today, well, sort of these few days this week, transit Mars is sat right on top of that Pluto at 19 Gemini, triggering that trine to Saturn at 20 Aquarius. There's 3 passes of that Mars, because, you know, we know Mars is retrograde. So we had the first pass September, this pass this week, and then there'll be another one in March next year. The main transit Saturn right now is sat right on top.
Hi, I'm sorry, I just lost the contact with Lianne, so let me try to invite Lianne again.
So while Lianne was Lianne was talking about the recent transit that Mars was sitting on the top of you know, on the FIFA's Pluto. So this is pretty interesting. So I hope that Mars is triggering the Pluto trine Saturn. Okay, so let me try to invite Lianne back. Oh, maybe no one know I was left.
Hi, Rod.
Sorry about that. It's bad connection here.
It's okay.
We're just talking about most juicy bit.
I know. I'll come back to it. What's happened to you? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Technical hit.
So we're talking. Yeah, we're talking about the Mars trigger that the FIFA as a Pluto tries Saturn, right?
Yeah, but the most important thing is that Saturn right now is sat right on top of FIFA's Saturn. So Saturn are having Saturn. FIFA are having a Saturn return. Saturn return.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to find is they're facing some real questions about not only their own structure and how it communicates itself, but about its way forward in the future. And that is going to be involving human rights and equality. It's as simple as that. And very interestingly, Juno sits exactly conjunct Saturn at 19.
Really?
Yeah, Juno is there. So it's all about human rights, the rights of the organization, the rights of the players, their responsibility to human rights, because FIFA is responsible at the moment for collective human rights and how it's portrayed in the media. So that's really fascinating, and there's 3 passes of that Saturn return: March, August, and December next month. So this has been going on all year. So FIFA has the responsibility of the world on its shoulders, really, and it's in the spotlight. And that moon in Leo it's staged. FIFA is on the world stage. Okay. And it has a massive responsibility to highlight this battle for collective progress with human rights, because this is a collective experience, this World Cup, without a doubt. And we're seeing all the rebellion, all the protest, seeing that from the players, and in the media. And of course, that last eclipse back in November at 16, what degree was that? Just remind me there. That was at 20 Aquarius. No, that was 16 Aquarius, wasn't it? Sorry, 16. I've got it in front of me.
Taurus.
Yeah, 16 Taurus. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That was squaring. Well, it was almost conjunct the Mercury. It was
almost conjunct the Mercury and the Venus. Yeah,
absolutely.
Venus is ruler.
Absolutely triggering FIFA's fixed T-square. And FIFA has a fixed T-square. It's quite comfortable. It doesn't really want to be pushed forward, but it's got to, because the eyes of the world are on it. The eyes of the world are on it. But what we also have is FIFA's Chiron is at 29 Capricorn. And we have Pluto approaching that, don't we, in the next few weeks, okay? And I think this is about, Chiron, we know it's about the wounded healer, all that type of thing, but it's also about alienation. And I think there's a chance to make sure that people are not alienated from society anymore. I think FIFA has a responsibility to help the growth of that, to help the evolution of including everyone and not making anyone in society feel alienated. And that is what this World Cup is highlighting. It's breaking down barriers. Very much. Carry on.
Which is very interesting, my observation of this couple chart. And the first time because I didn't check Astro.com last night until you sent me this one, it's 2:30. Then the Neptune was right on MC. And very interesting, because I draw the chart for the first March when Qatar against Ecuador. And that was like 20th of November 2022 on the 7 p.m. Very interesting. On that chart, Neptune also conjunct MC.
Wow.
And the ascendant is right on FIFA charts MC and Neptune.
Oh, brilliant.
And alcohol make a major theme. People doesn't care about the migrant workers state, doesn't care about LGBTQ, but you ban them to drink beer from the stadium. They just not happy, and they even that was make a big news. To be honest, is make me laugh because I say, well, beer are more important than human rights in this case. They even stop. I think their costume stopped the whole tones of like I don't know a beer, but wear the you know Coca-Cola or some other maybe like Coca-Cola 7-Up's wrap, you know, and that was so funny. I just like, really, and you are in a Muslim country, ban the alcohol, and then they say, you know, stadium ban the alcohol, and suddenly become an interesting thing, and they spend a lot of money to living in the little container. Those container, it's like, you know, those what they say, you know, those Nightingale hospital style.
Yeah, yeah. And it's you know, I know we're having a little bit of fun about drinking beer, but that's taking away people's rights again. It's all about control and controlling people's rights. You know, but I think that Neptune as well, it's very much about the migrants, the underdogs, the people who
yes, I agree.
They're suffering in society. So I think that is very highlighted. But, you know, all the people, you know, in Iran are suffering. You know, anyone that's repressed or controlled is suffering. So I think that Neptune theme is big. But of course, Neptune has a collective reach. It's about the fame and the glamour and the media reach as well, of course. And you know, it just, FIFA have such a huge responsibility here, not just to football, but collective change and inclusivity and fairness in society. And what I find interesting as well, of course, because their Saturn is at 20 Aquarius, and we just had a very close Saturn-Uranus square back in October. And this is picking, you know, that's triggering FIFA's T-square as well. So no wonder there's protests and uprising and, you know, upheaval and riots and that type of thing. Fascinating astrology.
It is
fascinating, and I just think this is a forerunner of what we're going to see as we move into Pluto and Aquarius next year.
I agree. 100% agree, because why are you talking about the controlling, about the division of society, the females right, LGBTQ or migrants, and or kind of different opinion, but they say, no, you are not, you are in my country, you have to do what I say. This suddenly give me an idea, say, oh, that is a preview, because Pluto is going to move into Aquarius. This is a Saturn in Aquarius, to be honest, very kindly, very nicely. This is Saturn. Give us a preview, maybe in different version, but give us a hint about what may happen when Pluto move into Aquarius for next 20 years, and which in this case, I'm a bit worrying, and I would tell myself to be strong, you know, tell us we have to go through this exam. I would say this is an examination. We have to go through this exam to show we are human beings. Rather, we are not. We are just. We are, you know, for the survive, or we are just like, if you give me money, I can do anything. Because FIFA things is very interesting, because you mentioned about 2010 in the 2nd of December when they meet in the Zurich. I think it was 2 weeks before the corruption was revealed. And then two of the FIFA's I think it was a member was being arrested for the corruption. And then the things then, that was so interesting. I think this, especially when Uranus trigger this T-square, and also go through the FIFA's Venus and Neptune, and at the same time, they have a Saturn return. Are they going to have a kind of a good reform, to be honest?
I think so, very much. And, you know, you're so right, Rod, that Saturn is the forerunner to Pluto. And I've said for a long time, Saturn's going ahead in Aquarius, testing the ground for all the cracks. and then Pluto is going to come along and completely dig up all those cracks in society where it's corrupt. And you know, Pluto's still in Capricorn now. There's still a lot of corruption to be unearthed and dealt with as well. And I just think Saturn is just showing where those cracks are, and then Pluto's going to come afterwards and do the full long-term job.
I think let's give me an image as very interesting. I usually don't understand those work, you know, those foundation work or builders work. But very interesting. My friend gave me an idea because they are talking about they want to redo the pavement in front of their house, and then the builder come over and tell, because he think it's just fix a few cracks, like what you say, the few cracks. And then the builder tell them, say, well, because you are going to park your car here, it's not easy like this. We have to dig everything out. Not just not just a few dig up. No, that dig things out is very Plutonian. So for those cracks, you think, oh, let's just patch the crack, right? Just like you know, fill it up. No, you have to dig everything, knock it out, dig everything up, and lay a good foundation to start with. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what you say, and give me an idea when Saturn shows the crack, Pluto going to fix it. Oh my God, I think it's that work, you know. Dig everything out and they're going to lay a good foundation and start it. Must be a hard work.
It's going to be a big, big job, but you cannot progress and you cannot evolve properly unless the whole thing is dug up and cleaned out, and and that's Pluto's job.
And this is very interesting. I just noticed another Neptunian moment. We're talking about the FIFA itself has the Neptune conjunct MC, and then we talk about this FIFA has the when the kickoff Neptune conjunct MC again, and the ascendant was on the FIFA's charts MC and the conjunct with Neptune. I went back to check that chart of the vote. No. Yes, not only this, and also at this moment, the Neptune was on FIFA's node, south node. Oh, so Neptunian. And astrologer, we know like Neptune, a symbol can mean a lot of different things. It's Neptune is not just about alcohol, as I mean, but as Lianne say, it could be also those people who, you know, the underdog and those who need help, and we also have those you know, ambiguous things and the confusing. But this is so interesting, even, you know, with astrology, we can even talk about the FIFA. Of course, some people were talking about, are you going to predict who's going to win? Would you try those techniques?
Yeah, I would actually. I would look at all the different countries' charts and compare them to the chart of the final. That's what I would do. So after this, I might go away and look at the UK chart, because Wales is out now, so we've got England in, don't we? Which would, you know, the UK chart would cover that. So I would look at the chart for the final and compare it to the chart of the UK and just see, you know, what it looks like. And then you could do that for the other countries as well.
That is very, very solid foundation work. You are going to the country chart and each one of them and go with final. I think the final chart is quite important because with that moment, the winning moment, that's winning the moment, you know, and that would be very interesting indicator who going to earn that glory. Some astrologer is quite interesting because when I was teaching horary last week, and my student asked me to draw, because he's from South Korea. He drew a South Korean chart with when South Korea against the what country I forget. I forget what country they're against, but it's their first match. And it was very interesting. The chart shows the result, and it was so exciting. I said, calm down, calm down. Because for astrologer who learn the horary like this, you draw one chart, it works. You're going to draw every chart for every match. I say, remember the rule. I think this is what I learned from all the different Harari astrologer, from Sharon, from Deborah, from Maradan, and they all talking about you only ask things has impact on you or related to you in the Harari. So I would sincerely suggest if anyone want to try the Harari chart, well, not going to do this every country. Like you do it for your country, yeah, maybe that may work because you are with them, you are stick with them, and you have that kind of feeling. So this will make the Harari chart work. Like he was very particular. We go through, we really go through what the chart he shows, and he say, so I was making the prediction that we will draw or Korea going to win. And the result was draw. And I say, well, you know what? Against those countries, the draw is already a win, to be honest, for me.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's different techniques, but I think just keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
Yeah, and the closer we get to the time, we'll be able to narrow things down and know which countries are going to be close to the final, definitely.
So I'm really looking forward. So, but thank you today to join me, and a really fun podcast talking about the FIFA. Unfortunately, we lost contact for a couple of seconds, and we have to redo it together. And but I will, later I will download all the video and put it together. Maybe try to upload on YouTube later. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you, Lianne. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Rod. Thank you.
Interesting talk, and then for all the other, stay tuned. See you next Wednesday. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Bye.